So, okay, here we are today, really at the beginning, almost at the beginning, I think now, Mark Turner, of stage 2. And I just wanted to express on behalf of myself and Dawn and our whole group, the appreciation for really the amazing work that the Turner family has done for us in Belleville. It really is a remarkable transition of the building. And Jordan, I think did you see the building before Mark and Jordan and their crew got a hold of it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and Brad, you may have seen it too, what it looked like a few months ago.
I walked through the initial stages, and yeah, they've come a long way, and I think they've done an amazing job to get to this point in the timeline that they have. Yes.
And so one of the things that Dawn wanted to establish today, and so did I, was what the roles are going to be as we take this thing from where we are now to completion. And Mark, we'd like you to remain on the project if you are willing, right through to the end, until we have it occupied, and then even a little bit beyond that, because once the building is complete and people are starting to occupy the spaces, there'll be, a few issues that undoubtedly will come up and might need some more direction. So we'd like you to stay involved if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Jordan and I are making plans. I mean, at some point in time, I'm going to have to break outside, out to the exterior of the building. So.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that.
We'll be with you for the long haul.
Thank you very much for that. So, but I think we should start with Brad first. Brad, I'm going to share my screen with everybody here for a second. I can remember which screen I'm sharing here. This one, I guess. We had a number of proposals, and I'm not really 100% sure which is which. So we had one from Three Hills Engineering Limited, which I think is, Mark V and his brother Curtis. Then we had another one here from C&E, which I think Brad, you thought, and I think Mark thought was a little bit excessive, but we didn't want to get into an argument with anybody, so we paid it in full. And then we had another one here from Jane, and I'm not sure, is there a fourth one that we should look at?
No, it'd just be Jane and then Alexander Wilson Architects is the fourth one that.
Yeah, I've got that one too, but if I understand your role in this, you're Mr. Mechanical, is that right?
Correct.
And we've already looked at your proposal, and we've already looked at Sandy's proposal, Jordan and Sandy's proposal, which was fine. So Jordan, that proposal that you sent us, I don't think we had any changes we wanted into that, Dawn, did we?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think it was fine. Yeah, but what we wanted to be clear of, and Brad, your proposal to us was fine, very reasonable. But what we weren't sure is what are we going to do with these things?
So we will need to get a mechanical engineer involved, and they'll need to have their drawings submitted along with the application for permit. And then once we get those drawings made up, we can separate out the mechanical contracts between electrical, heating, and plumbing. So I'm more willing to give pricing on the plumbing mechanical portion of it, but we need the electrical side of it taken care of as well, the mechanical wiring side of it, but we need the mechanical engineer involved to do up the drawings for the heat loss calculations. Right, Jordan can probably speak a bit more of that, but they kind of work side and side with the architects. That's where
so which one is that? Is that? Sorry, this one I think we can close, right? C&E is now a closed issue, correct? We're not using them.
That's right.
Excuse me, Bruce.
Yeah.
I believe there is one estimate that you're missing, because the proposals for mechanical, one was about 20,000 or 27,000, and the other one was about 54. So you're missing the one from.
I'll look for that one, Dawn. So I've got this one. And Brad, we can close this one, right? Because we're not using C&E, right?
Correct.
Their history. Okay. And so Dawn, the one that you're referring to now is not this one, Three Hills.
No, that's Mark's.
Mark V.
Mark V. But there's another one Brad, who was it from again?
The fourth one is from Mac Global Engineering.
Right.
They were a company that worked alongside with C&E, and that's how they got brought in. I would try to stay away from them because they're mainly industrial engineers. They don't really get involved with the residential side of things from what I've kind of read into. And it was more of a connection that C&E was trying to bring in their engineer because we were looking to get pricing at the time. So we were trying to get multiple comparables. And being their number being so high, I was quickly trying to just kind of push them aside. And Jane was a fairly reasonable number, I felt. And they're willing to adjust their number as well, which I thought was very attractive.
So I have a question about that because, as you all know, I'm learning as I go. What Jane is proposing to do, is it the same as was detailed in the other proposal?
It is, yeah. So I've since had them send me a revised quote, adding some more detail. I will forward that along to you in just a few minutes here. They've added a bit more detail, and they've also put a note on there subject to cost savings with coordination between myself and Mark, getting information so it's going to minimize his trips down, and drawing in what we can to kind of save some costs on that. And he's agreed to make that arrangement.
So I think what I'm hearing, Dawn, is that I unfortunately I can't find the other proposal. I'm sure you sent it to me, but I don't have it for some reason. That this proposal from Jane is equivalent to the other one, only a lot cheaper. And Brad is working with him to see if he can fine tune it a little bit more. Maybe it'll be a little bit less.
Correct.
And so Brad, you have my email address too, I think.
I do.
And so if you don't mind, when you can find the revised Jane proposal, send it to Dawn and me. And, you know, I will read it over and Dawn will read it over and then we can approve it. But let's go back to this one here. Mark Turner, this from Free Hills. What are they doing here? What is Mark V and his brother doing here for this 13,000 bucks?
Well, I think initially I wasn't privy to the initial deal with them. Don dealt with them in terms of, I think they paid out some fees to the electrician. I think they covered Janbar to get the initial power up and running, what have you. I had them over today, this morning, to go over a few things. We've firmed up exactly what we're going to do to secure the front wall of that building and the back. I believe that's part of it. So I just want to read over 3 sites they completed.
Do you have Mark Turner, do you have a copy of this proposal from them?
No, I don't.
Okay, you're going to have it in a second.
Okay. So basically, we've got, so far through their services, we've got the front of the building, the front wall secured. We tabled several propositions and potential plans, and they've adopted our plan, and they've gone one step further to make it more secure. It all revolves around tying that front wall into the existing structure. So we've got one more component we have to deal with. That's the big wood beam out front that runs the entire width of the building. They're going to put some engineering together for us to tie that back into the building as well. So not having had that, I can't speak knowledgeably about it, but you know, their role strictly is structural. To this date, they haven't had a great deal of hours expended. They've been on the site a few times, including today. All the plans have been generated from their office, were a result of what we proposed, we being myself, Jordan, and the welder that we've worked with on similar propositions. So it deals right now primarily with the front wall. We've looked at the skylights, the 3 skylights, which we'd like to maintain. We've had a preliminary opinion from Mark that we can do it. We can keep them. Also, there's the issue of the failure of the back wall on the south end of the building. We've had a look at that at length, and they're dealing with a matter of dealing with that in terms of making it right. There's several little things going on in there that I've basically asked them to address. So going forward, I mean, to this date, they haven't expended a lot of time, in my opinion. So I'll have to review that that proposal of theirs and find out exactly where we're at.
So Mark Turner, Mark, what proposals do you not have? Do you have the one from Jane?
I don't have that one, although Brad has kept me informed up to date as recent as yesterday in terms of his negotiations with them. So I'm familiar with what he's doing there. I believe, he's headed in the right direction with this Jane. I don't know them, but I'm confident if Brad's bringing them in, they're qualified. But he is making efforts to make that as cost efficient as possible.
All right. So Mark, I've sent you the one from Three Hills. I've sent you also the one from Jane.
Okay.
And I don't think you need to review Brad's. I mean, I've looked at it. It's very fair. I'm comfortable with Brad basically on your recommendation, but also I thought his proposal was very fair.
Yes, just on the the overview I got from discussing with Brad, I think he's approaching it from a very fair point of view. So I'll leave that between you and Don and he.
Yeah. So Mark, coming back to Don's question to me last night, about who's doing what, we want to make sure that between you and Mark V and Brad and Jordan Jones and I guess Jane, that we're not having a lot of overlap and that we're working together as a team. I've had some projects, a little bit bigger projects where, you finish the job or you think you have and something doesn't work and the mechanical guys blame the electrical guys blame the mechanical guys. And then, we're kind of stuck in a hard place. And as an owner, you have to get these things working. So Mark, do you think we're going to end up in a situation where all the horses are pulling in the same direction?
I believe so. I don't think it's an overly complicated project. Brad's keeping it fairly straightforward and sensible. We don't have a lot of moving parts, although we do within each individual sphere of input. But overall, I think it's broken down fairly simple, and we don't have overlap to the point where there's going to be gaps in provision of service and failures. I think the responsibilities on each party are going to be fairly clear. It's going to be to Brad to a degree and Jordan and myself to follow up and make certain that everyone's marching in the right pace. There's nothing left forgotten. Site visits are very helpful. Just to go over everything. What I'd like to do is once we have our firm direction set after today, I think we'd all benefit from a site meeting going forward. Three Hills, Jordan, Brad, and ourselves, just to make certain that we're considering everything and we're not missing anything.
Okay. If possible, Mark, I'd really like Dawn to be at that meeting. I mean, she is a good project manager, even though she hates it when I call her a project manager. I guess she prefers another title called wife. But, she is learning as she goes too. But she is really good at this. And as you know, she always has one more question to ask.
That's fine. Questions are good.
Yeah.
Discussion is good.
Okay. A couple of things on the facade. Our funding for the balance of the project is probably going to come in two tranches. We've got about $350,000 in funding, Mark, coming, I think, January 31st now, which will help us get, stage 2 going. And then we're going to end up with about another 600 or 650,000 in funding. So about $1 million to $1.1 million in total funding. And that, hopefully that's going to get us to the end of the project. But anyway, the 350,000 is the next draw, and it comes on January 31st, plus or minus a couple of days. Everything is taking longer to get done, but we do get these things done. It just takes longer. I want you to understand that, but we will get it done. On the facade grant, it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it was, I don't know, $11,000 or $15,000.
17, I think.
How much was it, Dawn?
I think 17.
Oh, wow.
That's correct, in around there, yeah.
Yeah, 17,000. So when do you think you're going to, do some work on the facade? Are you going to wait for spring? I mean, does it really matter?
It does. We're just discussing it. I discussed it with Mark V and his assistant, and then Jordan and I were discussing it. I'd like to get all the tie-ins installed. We've approached it fairly aggressively. I've gone past the point that they wanted to, and I don't believe that there's overkill in this sense that that front facade needs to be taken care of properly. So I anticipate that by the end of the month, we're going to have all our tie-ins in place, complete, as well as the demolition. It's my intention to have all the tie-ins in and have the front secured. Now, once that's done, I'll feel comfortable in peeling some steel off. So it doesn't really matter how bad the weather is. I'd like to get a couple of pieces of steel off to see, determine what the status of the masonry is, the mortar. When I pulled the box signs off, I revealed 2 or 3 courses of brickwork. And the mortar, I was a little concerned about the quality of the mortar. So if that is consistent throughout the whole facade of the building, if the mortar is less than stable, then I wouldn't want to pull that steel off until such a time as I can restore it. However, if we find that going up the facade a little bit in height, if it's a little bit more secure and it's in a little better shape, then I might feel comfortable in pulling all the steel off. But that's something we are going to know approximately the first week of February. Whether the snow is blowing, what have you, it doesn't matter. We can get the steel off just so that we're ready to go with the restoration work. So I'll have an answer to that question for you the first week of February, once we get the front of the building stabilized.
Okay, and I guess we still don't know exactly what has to be done to secure the back of the building. I mean, you did point out last time I was there, one of the major beams in the building has failed. Yes.
Well, it's not so much the main beam, although it's failed a bit. We addressed that issue today with Mark Vergenhill. And on that note, before I forget, that issue in itself is going to require that part of the wall to be torn down. And when we're putting it back up, I'm just wondering if you and Don want to install a nice big, either curtain window across that area of the back or sliding doors out to the terrace, the back rooftop terrace. If that were the fact, then I could forego the pleasure of relaying about 8 or 9 feet of brick going up. It makes it much faster and easier. If that's the case, if we can incorporate a sliding door there or just a curtain wall of glass, I just put a big lintel in over top of where the door is going, or the glass, and eliminates a substantial amount of brick that needs to be relayed.
I think for my preference, I'll leave it. I mean, Don has a better design head than I do, and I'm sure Jordan does too. I prefer, sliding doors, because then you can get access to it.
Out to the rooftop, sure. Don?
Don, you've muted yourself, unfortunately.
Sorry, I said I would agree. There's a lot of noise going on in the background here. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So Mark, in terms of addressing, what the failure of the structure at the rear, do we know what we can do to improve that situation?
Oh yes, we discussed it thoroughly this morning. What we do is, if we're going to have a set of glass doors, patio doors there, then what I can do is I can go about installing a lintel to carry the load above the sliding door. And then what we can do is we can remove all that brick and board it in for the time being. But at the heart of it, at the foundation, we're talking about putting a major beam in down below. where that wood beam is that failed. And
Yeah.
there's a secondary beam above it that's kind of wonky. It's on a slant. It looks like a pitched roof was attached at some time.
Yeah.
And that wood is blowing out. So the solution doesn't just lie with strengthening the main beam. It lies with that area that's blowing out as well, which right now I haven't been able to determine exactly what its purpose is. But number one, to be able to deal with anything at the bottom, we have to relieve the load at the midway point in the top. So that means
Now, how are you going to do that?
Pardon me?
How are you going to do that?
Oh, we'll tear all the brick down. The whole area for a width of about 5 feet. It starts, basically it takes in the halfway point of one window to halfway point of the other is 4 or 5 feet in width. And we just go down, we tear all the brick out.
Okay.
So Mark, when you're taking the brick out, you save it, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll be using that brick, and also there's a wing wall to the north of the building, which covered the fire escape. That wall doesn't serve any immediate purpose from my point of view, and we'll be reusing that brick as well.
Okay. Dawn, I think we have a handle on who's doing what. You know, Brad and Jordan and Mark and the other Jordan, I think understand. And Mark, you'll have all of the contracts, as will Dawn. And I think you know, we're in good hands then to finish this project. Jordan, I think you said by email, Jordan Jones, that if we want to, we probably could finish floors 2 and 3 first, occupy them, and then figure out what's going on the ground floor, if that's in fact what happens, right?
Correct.
So we could do that. So maybe what we should do now, Mark, if you think it's that's the right thing, and Dawn, we should turn to the question of design.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I've got a few. Again, if I don't have all the documents, I apologize, but I'll view this large screen. I'll share it with everybody. Oh, I guess I can't. This was a design that was sent to us. It's called Second Option 1 and Second Option 2. Not sure what that really means, but I guess this is the second floor here.
Second floor, second option, yes.
This is second floor option 1, and here's second floor option 2.
Right.
So Dawn, do you have some comments on this?
Sorry, I didn't understand at first. Sort of kitchens and bathrooms weren't put in, but that was because we weren't really approving it at this point. The one thing that I thought was maybe missing and in both options was we talked about a laundry room of some sort somewhere. I don't think there's enough room to get a washer and dryer in these units, and the ones that do both, the small European ones, I don't think are really very efficient. So I think we did, I haven't seen the floor plate opened up, but we did look at that funny little hall bathroom as a potential laundry room at one point. So to me, that's missing. I don't know, in Belleville, is there a coin laundry close by that you can walk to?
Yes, within 3 or 4 blocks. I mean, we could give consideration to a laundry room if we didn't want to take away from our floor plan. We could basically put it downstairs, perhaps. That's an option. Now, I haven't given any thought. Jordan would have to think about it, and yourselves.
I personally think just a 24-inch double unit in the space would be fine. I don't think it'd take up much space, and I don't know, they don't have to be the European double ones. You have it stacked and it's only taking up the space of, let's say, a dishwasher.
Okay, so that was one comment, was that we need to consider laundry. If you were doing a laundry room on the main floor, Mark, as you were suggesting, the other thing that I was thinking there is there's also no storage. So a small locker room might be beneficial at the back somewhere.
Yeah, we can utilize that. We've lost a visual, but not audio. We could consider that, but then you get into a fair amount of consumption of space with that, because are you planning on or considering having storage for each unit?
Well, maybe not each, but maybe if you could offer, maybe if there could be 4 or 6 and you could offer them on a rental basis for people who needed them. It wouldn't necessarily come with the unit, but I don't know if you were an avid skier or snowboarder or you were renting one of these micro suites for a year, you might not have room for that equipment.
It's a consideration, but I mean, it's just a matter of space. We have
Okay.
to.
It was just a thought.
Yeah.
I personally think with the height in these units, we can come up with some creative ways to provide storage without eating up your footprint of your unit.
That's exactly,
You know, we're talking from the east, I think we're getting 11 on almost 12-foot ceilings. And as you go to the other end west, they're up close to 15 feet with that slope, slope roof.
Jordan, have you seen these plans that were done, I think, by Jamie Troke's people at some point?
I do have those, yes.
And who did these?
I forget his name.
Yeah, Bruce, it was an older gentleman and I actually spoke with him.
I've spoke with him too.
But I mean, I thought Jordan was our architect.
So these were promotional things when Jamie was trying to sell the building. He got these made up.
No, but I'm talking about what you see on the screen now, I got recently. And I think,
yes.
Who did they come from? The ones that are on the screen?
So those are from me.
Okay.
When we spoke, you said you quite liked the design of these. So it's been left in. We'll do our own tweak on it. But these plans were more of an just to kind of lay out spaces more than anything.
Yeah,
and then and as they're approved, we'll develop them further.
I get that. So
yeah.
So these plans here that Jamie Troke's people did, you know, how would you compare, Jordan, what Jamie laid out here for floor 2 and for floor 3 with what you've done here and here?
So what do you mean by compare? So essentially, I've allowed for the building to create its own units with the layout of the walls. I'm assuming that each one would be a micro unit, and then we'll develop that as we see fit.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions here. So this is a micro unit here.
Yeah.
And it's got these connecting doors that both Mark Turner and I really like, so that if we put these 2 units on Airbnb, which is quite likely, this is the 2nd floor, you know, you could have 2 couples, you know, and, you know, connecting door, or 1 couple and their kids connecting door. So they can work as 1 unit or as 2, which I think is great. And then the question I had, Jordan, how big are these bedrooms? They look pretty small.
They are quite small. They're maybe 8 by 9 feet. Essentially, you're getting a bed in there, and that's about it. A queen bed.
So I'm wondering, Dawn, if we, you know, what and Mark Turner and everybody else, you know, what is the best solution here? You've got micro unit, micro unit, micro unit. This is the option 2 plan, micro unit here, and I guess a 1 bedroom here and a 1 bedroom here. So this plan here has basically on this, I think this is, again, is the 2nd floor, right, Jordan? This has 1, 2, 3, 4 micro units and 2 1 bedrooms. This one here, because the bedrooms are so small, I don't think it's really practical. And you know, I don't think you know, in terms of long-term rentals, I don't think I'd want to have a bedroom that's 8 feet by 9 feet or something like that. What do you think, guys?
I agree with that. I think I probably should have left those just blank where it's showing the space. I could personally do a better 2-bedroom layout for that option and also a nicer 1-bedroom option for that. I think the kitchen is eating up a lot of space there, and I think you'd want to actually use that more openly.
So I think we're going to come back to the second floor in a minute. Let's go to the third floor now. I'm just going to make it a little smaller so you guys can see it a little better. Here's the third floor. I think this one is pretty much straightforward. We've got 2 1-bedrooms here. What is this, Jordan, here? This is your exit?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have an exit on this side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're leaving it as reinstalling the fire escape just for conversation. But
would the fire escape go down to what Dawn and Mark Turner are calling our terrace?
Yes, we could do that. Yeah, that's the roof of the where the patio would go there. Yeah. Or decking, I guess.
The idea is, Mark Turner, is to have, you know, kind of a really nice terrace at the back, correct? At the second level.
That's correct.
So this fire escape would go down to that level, I think, Jordan.
Yeah, I think that if that's where we're headed, I think that's the way we'd go. And I think if we're doing that, we'd also have it go off the building and actually we'd get into some issues with fire separations going by the windows. Yeah. And I think just for privacy's sake, we'd want to avoid that. So we'd probably just have the stairs come off and head east and land onto the deck below.
Okay, I want to show a couple of other things. I've probably shown them before, but it's going to, I'll stop sharing this screen. I'll share my other screen here in a second. So one of the things, because we have such amazing height in these microsuites, Jordan, there's some really innovative things, one of which I had not thought of until you brought it up today, which is that some of your storage can literally be, you know, a ledge somewhere, right? You know, above. But you can also do things like this unit where you have the bed over a work area, or vice versa, where you have the work area over
that's what I was actually envisioning is a stage type situation where you pull your bed out.
Yeah. So so I think some of the microsuites can be really, really fantastic, because I didn't know, Jordan, that the ceiling heights were as high as 15 feet, but think about that. That is an incredible loft space. Now, we don't want, Jordan, we do not want to do them all like that, because there might be some older folks like me who don't want to be up in a loft, right? But for you know, people who are in their 20s, 30s, even 40s, this is a pretty cool, and even 50s, I suppose, this is a pretty cool result. And one of my clients has done exactly this in one of his condo buildings, and it's been wildly successful. And like I'm really taken with your idea also of storage. So I'm going to trust you, Jordan, to include some of these designs and concepts so that we can have some units that really blow people away when they come and visit.
Sounds great.
Jordan, how wide are the hallways that you're proposing?
Currently, by code, I haven't really proposed anything. I went off where the brick ends right now and where the existing walls are. But by code, we're only required to do 1,100 millimeters.
So you're going to have to translate that into.
So that's 40. That's roughly just over 43 inches. But I think we're going to want just a little bit more for moving in furniture and that kind of stuff, and also not to feel so compressed.
Yeah, I was thinking a minimum of 4 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dawn, and Jordan as well, that when you have chintzy corridors, and I don't want corridors, Mark Turner, I don't want corridors that have 7-foot ceiling heights either.
No.
You know, I mean, we've got this incredible volume. Let's use it, right, Jordan?
Right, I think for sure.
I don't want any hung ceilings like they had in there. We just, all that means is, Mark, you have to go back in 20 years and tear it all down again.
There's some beautiful beams up there
down.
too that
We
I don't
want
think we
that.
want to
So-
hide.
So we want to maximize the ceiling height, and I agree with Jordan and Dawn. Nice wide corridors makes a huge difference. So let me ask again. I mean, guys, we don't have all the answers, and none of us do. This is a collaborative effort. So if you don't think we're on the right track, now's the time. But Dawn, did you leave us? I guess you did. Just hang on a second, fellas. Dawn?
I think those existing hallways now, the way they're configured, I think we've got 4 or 5 feet upstairs, have we not?
Yeah, where's the third floor currently, because there's no walls, where the brick is, the second floor, we're at 7 feet hallways with the
7 foot-
existing. But I
7 foot
think,
wide.
yeah, that there, yeah. But I think the nice thing about that though is I like that the brick comes out into the hallway. It's a nice feature, and we could really play that up with some lighting and some nice features like that.
So the question I have for the whole group, because I don't know the answer to this, is we want to have a couple of Airbnb units. And my thinking, and I don't know if it's Dawn's thinking, that's why I wanted her on this call for this part anyway. My thinking is that the microsuites are going to be on the second, the microsuites that we'll put on Airbnb are probably going to be on the second floor. And you don't want to drag people up to the third floor. There's a lot more commotion. Airbnb, they can change over every 3 or 4 days, certainly every week. And I don't really want to drag them up to the third floor past all the tenants on the second floor and disturb all the tenants on the third floor. So my thinking was that the 2 Airbnb units were going to be these 2 here, Mark Turner, the ones that you've shown with the, or Jordan has shown with the connecting doors. Dawn, are you in agreement with that? You have to unmute yourself, honey.
Have to say yes? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you. So Jordan, these 2 units here, we want to use, those really should be really funky units, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Those you just use your imagination, and I'm not too worried about storage in those units because they're short-term rentals. I'm sure everybody on the call has heard that Casa Loma has bought the Royal Bank building next to us. Everybody's aware of that, Brad?
Yeah.
And you guys know that the Casa Loma is a very high-end wedding center, meeting center, dining center in Toronto and in Miami, and they have really made a statement. I think that Belleville's a place to be. I mean, what a gamble it is to buy it. There aren't too many events going on right now. What a great courageous thing I think that was. So if they have these high-end meetings and weddings and everything else, I think there will be demand for Airbnb, and there's no building closer than this one. So those are the 2 units that will be on Airbnb. So Dawn, the real question here is this: what do we do with the rest of the second floor?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, and one that we've been going back and forth on for a couple of days now. At one point we had thought that we might just do this for us, in which case we would want all of the space at the front to the right of the stairs and all of the space at the back. And out of that you would get a super nice kitchen, a couple of bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, a door to the terrace with maybe a 3-season sunroom, and then patio space out of that. I'm still not convinced that that's not what I want, but I'm a bit worried about the stairs. I think, I don't know, Mark, do you know how many stairs there are? I know how many there are from 7-foot ceiling. I think there's 13 or 14. How
It's-
many stairs are there up to the top?
Probably a good.
It's 22 to the top.
22. So
At
that's just a few.
22, and then yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not so much about, I'm not worried so much about getting up and down the stairs as I am as I get older, if Bruce and I were to move here, about getting heavy packages up and down the stairs in my hands. So what I guess Bruce and I had talked, we're still kind of discussing this. Bruce and I had talked about an elevator. We don't think that that makes sense. Very early on, I mentioned a dumbwaiter, you know, so that you could get groceries and things up easily. That would be for everyone's use. It would have to go to the 3rd floor. Or, I don't know. You said the bedrooms were, the bedroom here was like 8 by 10.
The bedroom, I believe, is roughly like 9 by 8 or something.
Yeah, which is still pretty small, eh?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't design it like this, but
So Bruce, I don't know. I'm still.
George, you said you wouldn't design it like this, but this is your sketch, right?
yeah. So going off what you guys said that you like that design, I just kind of plugged it into to show it, but personally, I wouldn't go about it this way.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that. You know, okay. So, all right. I'm just sorry to be so slow, guys, but this is really important. I think we are all in agreement that this 3rd floor plan is a good one. Jordan has solved the storage problem, Dawn, because we have verticality. We can also do some neat things up here with the bed over the work area, or the work area over the bed, the staging that Jordan referred to a moment ago. The other thing, Jordan, I think you're right. We can put small stacked washers and dryers in these units. What the hell? How big is this unit here, if you don't mind me asking?
16 by 16 by almost 18.
So I'm just going to interject here, and Brad, this is more for you because it's a question that you had asked me very early on. I didn't have the answer for
About
it.
290 square feet.
Yeah.
And that is that if the 3rd floor is going to be all microsuites and long-term rentals, then we would go ahead with metering them individually.
Okay.
The 2nd floor might be different.
Yeah, so Brad, Dawn's got it exactly right. The 6 microsuites on the 3rd floor will be individually metered, but the 2 microsuites that will be Airbnb, that doesn't matter, because Airbnb, you know, it's an all-inclusive price.
You got her. And that'll come into play when we get the mechanical engineer involved, and I will steer him in the right direction for designing that. If I can throw in my input just on those stackables, obviously totally your decision. But as cost savings point of view, if you're going to have your unit on level 2, I would definitely suggest putting a wash and dryer in that unit. But I'd probably stick with maybe 1, because if you start putting wash and dryers in every unit, all your venting, your water lines, your drainage, is that something you want to add on to the price tag, or do a community laundry on the ground floor somewhere with the storage unit? I don't think it's going to take up a whole lot of space, and it's a fraction of the cost going to 1 laundry room compared to 7 or 8, I guess.
Dawn?
I don't know.
So Brad, just to go back to the storage thing, the storage is not going on the ground floor. Jordan has already solved that. We have the verticality. You can have a cupboard up there. You can put your snowboard up there.
Right, so that would make your a little community laundry room a lot smaller then. It wouldn't take up as much space. So it's just an option to think about.
Jordan, I do a lot of real estate investment and business coaching across Canada and the United States, and I'm definitely stealing that idea.
Brad, I have a question. If you can just ballpark it in dollars and cents, what do you think the difference in cost is?
For wash and dryers and everything. So you're including the cost of the washer and dryer and the mechanical services. You're probably going to be, I'm going to say between $7,000 and $9,000. That's your, you know, your electrical, your plumbing.
Per door,
Pardon me?
per door,
Per stackable.
per unit.
Yes, that's right.
And just to do it on the main floor?
Just on the main floor, so it'd be, depends on how if you want to do just a single washer and dryer or a few down there. You might be just that, like 7 or 8 just for the one single unit.
Jordan, what's your opinion on that?
I can spend your money faster than anyone else. I personally, you know, again, getting with the stair issue, you're 22 steps, you're carrying your laundry down now. If we're trying to go with making these things unique and nice, I personally feel that a unit inside your unit is the best way to go. And we can simplify things by pushing the laundry within maybe the kitchen or within the bathroom to try to minimize expenses the best as possible.
Can I show you, Brad, and the group here, what one of my clients has done with a small unit of 235 square feet? I'd like to show Jordan as well. Dawn, you've seen this video before. This is actually a city planner that I coach. His name is Alain Miguelas, and he has a very nice old home in downtown Ottawa. And he dug down, underpinned his foundation, and he built a tiny apartment, 235 square feet. And as I show you this video, look, Brad and Jordan, look at how tiny the appliances are, because it's such a small unit. The fridge is like this, you know, and the washer, the dryer is like this. He had special order stuff. But Brad, just so you know, I think Jordan is on the right track here, in the sense that the rentability of this thing was so much higher. So do you mind if I show this short video, guys? Is that okay?
I'd love to
Of
see
course,
it.
yeah.
Thank you. I have to turn it up a little bit, otherwise you won't be able to hear the music. And by the way, Alain is a DJ as well as a planner. So give me a second, I'll share my screen. And you know, he's a DJ, so you'll understand what I'm saying in a minute.
So Bruce, I'm just gonna add to this before it starts, that, you know, as someone who does most of the laundry, I definitely would prefer it in my own unit as opposed to going down 2 floors. And the other thing is, I think you need to be careful when you're looking at really small appliances like he may have added here, because they are astronomical in price. The smaller you go, the more expensive they are.
100%. This spy loft that he built was not cheap, but the rents he gets from it, Brad, are you sitting down? $1,600 a month.
Oh, holy jumpins.
235 square foot apartment. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, guys?
That was impressive.
That's very impressive. So Brad, when it comes to investing the extra money, if it shows up on the ROI, you know, on the income side, and you know, we want tenants to stay longer. One of the things that defeats a residential, multi-residential family building like this is when you're turning your tenants over every year.
Yeah, I was actually, I was sold after Jordan's explanation and wanted to take back my words when,
No,
but
there's no
it does make way more sense having in the units. I agree. I was more looking at the costs. As long as we're comfortable with that, then
I do, but you know, a huge cost to any landlord is having to replace, you know, 10 or 12 tenants every year. That's really hard.
Yeah, well, once he says going up and down the stairs with the laundry, I thought,
well,
no, nobody's going to
recognize
go for that.
Difficulty there too.
Yeah.
Jordan, did you notice there how important the workspace was in the video?
Yeah.
I'm recording this, so everybody will get a copy of this after we're over if you ever wanted to go back and see this video again. But one of the things I wanted to emphasize to you, Jordan, is that what we do is these microsuites have to function as both a home and a workspace, believe it or not. And certainly Alain Miguelis was aware of that. And less space than we're talking about here, excuse me, here, in 235 square feet, he was able to get, you know, workspaces that work. And that's really important because a lot of these people, whether they're older people like myself or they're younger people, you know, many of us are working from home. So in all of the apartments that I build and that my clients build, we put in tech packages. That's multimedia packages, really good internet. We put in large screen TVs that stay with the place. And that means when a tenant moves in, the moment he or she moves into one of these microsuites, everything works. They've got, you know, Netflix, they've got Spotify, you know, they've got that little robot, what are they called, Dawn? That little robot that we have in our house, Alexa?
Yeah, not everybody wants that, right?
No, I understand that, but they've got all kinds of things, plus really good internet. We put in wonderful Google Nest systems that really work, and that the internet is, and we did this before the pandemic, but holy smokes, it's really made a difference. So these units are going to be workspaces as well as living spaces, and you have to think about that, okay, Jordan?
Yeah, for sure. I think the key to these microsuites is what we call like flex spaces, where you can have a desk that serves as a kitchen table, but then also a workspace for work.
Got it. And you may have noticed in the spy loft, there's a Murphy bed.
Right, I did. Yeah, behind the couch there.
And you know, and by the way, UBC is building microsuites as small as 145 square feet, which is too small in my opinion. And the bed turns into a desk, the desk turns into a bed. So there's a lot that can be done. And because we have almost 300 square feet, which by microsuite standards is actually pretty good, and we have that extra height, I suspect we can do something really good. So Brad, on the third floor, I think we have concluded that there will be 4 microsuites, 2 little 1-bedrooms. They'll all have you know, smaller stack washer dryers packed into the kitchen somehow. We still don't know what to do with the second floor, and I'm open to ideas and suggestions. Dawn, you want to start again?
Well, I don't, you know, I think first of all, we need to decide for sure what we want to do. My decision would be made easier if there was some way of like a dumbwaiter somewhere where I could actually, and other people could actually move heavy things from the ground floor to the top floor without too much difficulty. I think the 2 microsuites that are here are fine. I think the 1-bedroom, the 1-bedroom unit is probably okay. I'm not sure though. I can't read these dimensions, but the bedroom looks pretty small. It looks like one of the bedrooms that was on the 3rd floor in the 1-bedroom units, like kind of just big enough to get maybe a double bed in. I'm not sure. And
Right.
so if we were not to take all that space, I think that back space and the front room there needs to be reworked.
So
But Jordan,
my take on it is a little bit different. I think, Don, you know, Mark, we would like to move to Belleville. You know, Don, you have better weather. You know, you have tropical weather compared to Ottawa. So we'd like to move there. But what I'm thinking, everybody, is these two microsuites, like Don said, are fine. But what I would do with the rest of this space is I would do a 2-bedroom apartment here with the terrace that both Mark and Don really like. So I would make this a 2-bedroom unit somehow. And if you had to take all of this space to make it a decent 2-bedroom, that's okay. I think we should have one really great apartment in here. Whether we take it or somebody else takes it, you know, I mean, that's just my feeling. Mark Turner, you know Belleville better than I do. But if we only have microsuites and 1-bedroom units, I think we're missing out.
Well, I think that that floor space you could do something very unique with it. I mean, you're considering living in Belleville. The question arises: how long would you occupy this unit if that were the case? And then you have to look after the fact what's going to be marketable. I think it'd be truly marketable, particularly with the access to the rooftop patio. I guess what we look at is return, the bottom line, versus having one nice big unit. Although, if at some point in time you decide that you're going to put on Airbnb, you're going to move on to another house or what have you.
So Mark, my inclination is, if Don and I are going to move to Belleville, we're going to buy a house.
Right.
I mean,
so you're not going to be there forever. That's
dragging 50 pounds of groceries up 22 stairs. I just not going to have my wife doing that, you know, and I'm not volunteering either. So I think I don't think we should. I mean, I really love downtown Belleville. I'd move there in a second. You know, I don't really care. I like doing stairs. I actually like doing stairs, but you know, there are other considerations here. So Jordan, what if we were to do this? We've got 6 microsuites here on the 3rd floor. We could have 2 more here. That's 8. And a nice 2-bedroom in an L shape here. I think you could do something really great. Not for us though, Mark. Not for us. It's for rental to somebody, you know, who's you know, a little higher end. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I also like the idea of, so you have those Airbnb suites, and then just east of those, you could have a nice 1-bedroom unit, and then still have that whole south end of the building as a nice 2-bedroom.
I think that is
option.
actually a very good idea. So if I understand you right, these 2 microsuites, then you'd have this would be a 1-bedroom here.
Right.
And this would be the 2-bedroom here.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now, gentlemen and lady, that's it. We've now made a decision. Executive decision. Jordan, that's what we're going to do. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Brad, you got it?
I got it.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. No, I think that's great. That's an even better plan, Jordan. And again, you know, you made it that much better. Okay, I have a couple other things I wanted to talk to you guys about. I think you all are aware of the fact that I think it's later this week that I'm having a discussion with Loyalist College about sorry, where did my share feature go? Yeah, I'm having a discussion with Loyalist College about the ground floor. So you should be able to see, this is my sort of chicken scratching here. I think I sent it to everyone, maybe not to you, Brad, but I think I sent it to you, Mark. Did I send this to you?
Please, so yes.
And Jordan, did I send this to you?
I don't believe I've seen that, no.
All right, well, I'll make sure that you and Brad get it after the meeting is over. So this is the, obviously the front of the building here. This is Front Street. We have about an 800 square foot space for a cafe, and Loyalist College is talking about putting in a business incubator. So I'm thinking the business incubator sort of goes back like this. I don't know if you can see my cursor moving around. It's about a 1,700 square foot space. And what Loyalist College is talking about is having a place for their students after they graduate to go and develop their businesses further. It's kind of like a co-working space, but developing, you know, entrepreneurs from Loyalist College. Hopefully many of them will stay in the Belleville area. And then on this side of the building, there would be just another commercial building. Now, Jordan, this is where it gets interesting. This thing in blue here, one of the things I've been talking to the president of Loyalist and her senior vice president about is having a business incubator and having an entrepreneur in residence actually live in the incubator or next to the incubator, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
And so, Mark, if I've got it right, this is about a 395 square foot microsuite, so a little bigger than the ones upstairs, that faces what we hope will be, I think you call it artisan court. So we're hoping, Jordan, that this will be more than just another parking lot, that there'll be some, you know, something else going on here,
Right.
to make it a little bit more of an attractive space. And so and I have asked the mayor, I've asked the planner, I've asked some other people, I've asked some of the counselors, I made a presentation to council in Belleville asking whether they would permit live and work at grade. And I think the answer has been yes. And I think the new official plan allows it. So the idea would be that Loyalist College could have an entrepreneur in residence who might stay for 6 months, you know, and mentor the students, et cetera. So it's kind of a live work condition. So there'd be a microsuite here, the business incubator here, a cafe here, some kind of commercial space here, and then in the stables, which has been beautifully renovated by Jordan and Mark, that would be maker spaces or artisan spaces. Does that kind of make sense to everybody?
Yep. Just looking at the, my first thoughts just about the business incubator. We'll need to get an exit out the back. I don't think we'll have enough travel distance to make that work, but yeah, we can make everything else work.
Yeah, you know, it might end up being back here where the corridor was anyway.
Right.
I'll leave that to you. I mean, obviously you're the architect here. I'm just the
Right.
civil engineer. So I'll send you this plan, and unless you see some kind of a showstopper, I think that's the direction we're going to go in. The other thing I wanted to show you was I really want, you know how this part of the building, Jordan, has, you know, what do you call this, Mark Turner?
It's an alcove.
An alcove. I really want to eliminate that. And I want to do something like this place. This is, I think, the L'Auberge, yeah, the L'Auberge, which is just down the street. And I took a picture of it last time I was in Belleville. And you notice how they, maybe Mark, you did this. I think you might have put this in. Did you put the slider window in?
Yes, we had ViewTech put the window in, and our welder and I built the little table out front to match the wrought iron gate.
Yeah. So one of the things we'd like to do, Jordan, is we would like to do something very similar for the cafe that's going to go into this building. I call it a pedestrian drive-through. All right. So you can, instead of driving your car, you know, through a Tim Hortons drive-through, you walk. And in fact, Dawn and I picked up something on Sunday as we were leaving. And again, you just go to the, and this has nothing to do with the pandemic, although it has everything to do with the pandemic. Even after the pandemic is over, I think this is a very, very, very positive attribute for you know, things like a cafe. You can get your coffee, you can get your tea, you can get your nice pastries or sandwiches or soups without actually having to go inside.
Jean-Marc and Sharonda, they say that it's working like a charm. Their profitability has gone up. They don't have the dining room staffed anymore, but they said it works very well.
Yeah, and I did talk to the owner. I think you introduced me to him, Mark, and he said the same thing to me, that slider has been a real, it's certainly worked wonders during the pandemic. But it also, in a way, it expands the store without expanding the store, if you know what I mean.
Expands
The other
capability.
thing, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
It expands capability. It's
Yeah.
a smoother delivery with less traffic.
Yeah. The other thing too that we want, and we've asked the city, although I'm not sure they're too keen on it, we would like to have a patio that goes the full span of the building, an outdoor patio. And we would like that to be as big as possible, right? So it wouldn't just be for the cafe. If you're at the incubator or you're living upstairs, it's a space for you too to go down on a nice day, and you can do your homework out there, or just bring your laptop and get a coffee. So it will not be, when I do the leasing for this, Jordan, I will put in the lease that, you know, the cafe owner cannot kick people out if they're living in the building, right?
Bruce, I have a question too, and that is, you know, while we're looking at this, how do we, or where do we go to determine what kind of parking we have to provide? Because that'll affect what happens in the back.
On that note, I'd just like to add something. I've got Jerry Murphy, he's a title searcher. Unless we already have established it, but I haven't heard anything about it, but I'd like to know exactly what the legal breakup of the back parking lot is, like who has easements over it, if any, or whether we own all of it, that type of thing. There might be an easement that goes with it for the building just to the north. The other thing is, my understanding, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, MicroSuites don't require parking where one bedrooms or more do. Is that correct?
Yeah, we tend to be able to argue that and get away with it more easily than some of the other things.
In fact,
So,
Mark, the planner himself, we had to kind of torture him to get it out of him, but the planner himself said those 6 microsuites on the 3rd floor are grandfathered and will not require any parking.
Okay.
Oh, that's great news.
So basically, to answer your question, Don, if we go with the configuration we're proposing on the 2nd floor, we've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 apartments, or 3 apartments?
No, 4 apartments on the 2nd floor, 2 microsuites, 1 bedroom, 1 2-bedroom.
Right.
On the 6th floor, 6, that's 10. And then a microsuite at grade is 11. That is a fantastic result for this project.
So then we would require 3 parking spots. Is that it, Jordan?
Well, it's you're 2 per room for people. I'm not sure how that would go. I think that's 1.25 for parking per person. But you know, with these projects, we can argue a much lower parking count than what's required.
Well, we want to have some parking, Mark. It's just we don't want to have 13 parking spaces back there because there'll be no room for anything else.
Yeah, I think we could likely have 2 parking spaces and still do what we want to do. As soon as we have 3, currently there's 4 to 5 vehicles that park back there, but you know, when they do, you know, it's full. That's a couple of our vehicles, and then 2 or 3 of the unit beside. And the reason I reached out to Jerry was to determine exactly what our legal obligations are, if any, to the people parking there currently. I haven't raised any issues. We've gotten along, everyone's getting along well, but at some point in time, unless you know already, we're gonna have to make a determination as to what the legalities are. And we may have to, you know, ask them not to park there anymore.
Well, gentlemen and lady, I think that pretty much sums up what we needed to review today. This is going to be a truly amazing project when it's finished. And again, I'm very grateful for all the efforts today. Are there any other questions before we break?
Just one thought, Jordan, it looks like we've got a firm set of plans in terms of the layout of the units. I guess one question I might have, as well as Don and Bruce, how long will it be before we have a reasonable set of plans generated? And at what point in time will we all benefit from a meeting on site that Don could attend and just go over things?
Now that we have approximately, I think I could get full room layouts, elevations in the next 2 weeks.
And on that note, Brad, your requirements in terms of the mechanicals and what have you, at that point in time, you're going to be in possession of enough information to get the mechanicals going? The plans?
So I was hoping first thing we can follow up with is placing all your plumbing fixtures, your kitchen sinks and whatnot into the layout that Jordan's going to follow up with today. And before he carries on, we get that approved by the Firestones, and then I pretty much get Jane going, or at least have a coordination with him back and forth, and kind of giving him some information to get started on before Jordan finalizes his drawings. Now, Jordan, is that what would we need minimum to apply for permits? Like, can we get away with doing level 1 and level 2 and leaving the ground floor kind of vague to apply for permits? Because it doesn't sound like we're going to have a final answer on the ground floor, if I'm not correct.
So yeah, we touched on this second floor, third floor. We should be able to get occupancy with all the proper documentation, provided that life safety aspects are met. So fire separations, exiting, that kind of stuff.
So would that be our goal then, is to focus on level 1, level 2, submit that for a building permit, and then follow up with our ground floor layout, Bruce and Don?
I wasn't paying any attention. I apologize.
Right. We've kind of decided this. So we're just saying we're going to go through with third and second residential, complete that to permit, and then move to developing commercial space.
I think that's wise, because Mark has told us, Jordan and Brad, that if we can get the second and third floors, finished and get the occupancy permit, that's the shortest route to revenue.
Right, I agree with that.
And I think Jordan agrees with that. Brad, I think you do too, right?
Yeah.
And that second and third floor, I'm very, very happy with what we've done today. That was really creative work, and I'm really impressed. This is going to be a fantastic building. All right, gentlemen, lady, I'll see you later, guys. And and Mark, to answer your question, I think I'd like Dawn to come. Jordan has said in 2 weeks he would be done, at least a draft. I'd like Dawn to come at that time, and also I'd like each of you to sum up what we owe you. If there's some money that we owe you, Brad and Jordan, and of course Mark and the other Jordan, I'd like to know that too, because we'll have the funding by then. All right, guys.
Good
Okay,
enough.
great.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Okay.